Your I can statement for today is I can multiply a fraction by a whole number. So technically we've been doing this for the past 2 days, but today we're going to take out the model part for just a second and try it with an equation. So your practice problem for today is Hal spent 3/4 of an hour reading each day for 7 days. How much total time did he spend reading? As always, starting with the cubing strategy, circling our key numbers, 3/4 and 7, underlining the keyword or underlining the question, boxing any key words, which is each, and I would say that total time should be a keyword, eliminating anything we don't need, and then solving. So I did put as option 1 to use models because if you were doing this on a test, you could certainly use models to solve. You wouldn't necessarily need an equation. So I put the model up here for you. Hal spent 3/4 of an hour each day reading for 7 days, which is represented here. You see 3/4 is written 7 times. Okay, so again, if you were using a model or repeated addition, you would see that all of these fractions have a common denominator, which means that you can just add the numerators together. So I have 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 21. And I know that I leave my denominator the same, which is 4. As we know, this is an improper fraction, so we need to turn it into a proper mixed number, asking ourselves how many times 4 goes into 21. 4 goes into 21 5 times without going over because 5 times 4 is 20. When I subtract my 20 from 21, which I got from 5 times 4, I have 1 left over, which means 5 and 1/4 would be my answer. Okay? So that's if you used a model. The model is right up here. You just used repeated addition. However, there is a way for you to solve this equation or solve this problem using an equation, using an operation. So the first way that you can do it is renaming the whole number as a fraction. So let me show you what I mean. So we know that Hal read 3/4 of an hour each day. So there's my first number. And I'm going to multiply that by 7 because that's how many days of the week that he read. And we're trying to figure out how much he read in all. Whenever you are multiplying a fraction by a whole number, you can rewrite the fraction. You can rewrite the whole number as a fraction by putting it over 1. Anytime you have a whole number, you can put it over 1 and it still means the same thing. So if I have 100, I can write it over 1 and it's still 100. If I have 2, I can put it over 1 and it's still 100. So I can rename my whole number, which is 7, as a fraction. I put it over 1 and now it's a fraction. And then what you do is just multiply across. And you might have seen this done in the first set of notes that we took 2 days ago. But I'm just going to multiply across the top and across the bottom, which is different than adding fractions. Normally when we add fractions, we leave the denominators the same. When we multiply both the numerator and the denominator. So watch what I do here. I multiply my numerator first. 7 times 3 is 21. And then I multiply my denominators across. So 4 times 1 is 4. So now again, I have my improper fraction of 21/4, and I need to change that into a proper mixed number. I know that 4 goes into 21 5 times without going over because 5 times 4 is 20. 21 minus 20 is 1, and I have 1/4 left over, which is the same answer that I got when I used models. So that's your second option, is to rename your whole number as a fraction. I just took my whole number of 7 from up here and put it over a 1. The third thing that you can do is multiply to find the number of fourths, or the fraction that you're multiplying by. So for example, I have 3/4 here times 7. That's my equation. So what I can do is take this 3 and pull it out and say 7 times 3 times what I have left over is 1/4, and solve it that way. So 7 times 3 is 21, times 1/4 would be 21/4. And I know how to turn that into an improper fraction because we've done it 2 other times. So now I have 5 and 1/4. And you can choose any of these 3 ways to solve. It's up to you. I'm not going to tell you which one I prefer because you should choose on your own what's the easiest way to solve. But as you can see, all 3 of these options get you the same answer. So you should pick whatever one you are most comfortable with and work with it that way. For your problem, I want you to try to solve this on your own. When you're ready, click the next button on your notes and I will show you how we worked through this. So I am going to choose option 2 for this. If you chose a different option, that's okay. You'll still get the same answer, hopefully. So option 2 is renaming my whole number as a fraction. So my whole number is 2, and I'm going to write it over 1 so that I turn it into a fraction, and then I'm going to multiply it by my fraction of 5/6. Then I multiply across. 5 times 2 gives me 10. 6 times 1 gives me 6. I have an improper fraction here, and I need to turn it into a proper mixed number and ask myself how many times 6 goes into 10 without going over. It goes in 1 time. And then I have to subtract that 6 from my 10, which gives me 4. So I have 4/6 left over. I can reduce this 4/6 by dividing both of these by both my numerator and denominator by 2 for a final answer of 1 2/3. When you're working through your formative today, please make sure that you're listening and watching for your feedback, and make sure to come over to mine or Miss Fisher's table if you have any questions.